Hi, friends. Oh, am I making a video? Yes, I am. Okay, hi. So it's Friday. It feels like a Monday. We were just off for 2 days. I actually filmed a video, but then the hurricane craziness happened, and then it was all off the timeline or whatever. So I'm not going to post it. But I am. I'm so thankful that the hurricane didn't come to us here in South Florida. But it's such a weird thing when you live in Florida because when you're hoping that a hurricane doesn't hit you, it's like you're hoping that it hits someone else, So it's a weird feeling, and I really feel for the people in on the West Coast, Fort Myers area, Naples, Port St. Lucie, um, that area. Boy, they really got it tough. They got it bad. Been there. I actually lived through Hurricane Andrew when I was, I want to say, I don't know, maybe my last couple years of college. I think it was one of the last years of college. I still remember that feeling of like waiting for impending doom, like just waiting for the worst thing in your life to come, and there's nothing you can do about it. My father, if you're following my timeline here, my father was in the hospital. He was still in the hospital, not the nursing home. So it must have been my second to last year in college. And he was uh, on a ventilator. He needed the ventilator to breathe. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that distracting? My hair blowing around like that? It's not exactly Beyonce vibes, huh? So he needed a ventilator to breathe, and the thought of being without electricity, that was not fun. There was no cell phones and stuff at that time, and to see him, like, you actually obviously had to go to the hospital. There's no FaceTime or anything, and it was rough. I remember the first day, like after the storm passed, and we were trying to go to the hospital to visit him. First of all, they weren't letting anyone visit, which we didn't know ahead of time. There's no website to check or anything back then. And you think about that, it's so crazy. And I don't. This is a side story, but it was rough. I just wanted information to get to him. Like, we're out here. We wish we could come visit you. We're okay. Are you okay? Like, that's all I needed to know. But it took a good couple days before we could get in to visit because they were just swamped. They were taking care of things they had to take care of, and visiting someone wasn't a priority. But we were able to eventually talk to the nurses on the phone and all that stuff. So anyway, that's that. But I've been through several hurricanes, obviously, living in Florida. We usually don't get too freaked out about them until, they get like category 3. Then we start getting a little freaked out. And like the forecasts, as good as they are, until like 5-6 hours until it hits, it's still a little, tricky. The Hurricane Maria that like decimated Puerto Rico, it was supposedly coming right at us. It's like, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. It's right to you, right to you, right to you. And all the models like, it's going to plow right over us. And then at the last minute, it took this weird turn that no one expected, and it spared us, which was amazing. But, I don't know. This one I didn't get too panicky because the models were all over the place, and none of them really brought it right over us. So, we lucked out. Other people were not so fortunate. But, next time it could be us. Not tempting fate or anything, but that's the risk you take when you live in Florida. Now, homeowners insurance is already bananas. When I tell you, I think we pay, I'm going to say $8,000 a year or something like that for homeowners insurance. The most minimal coverage you can get. I know that's what my mother-in-law pays because we take care of her stuff. She has to have it because of the mortgage, and we got down to the biggest deductible. It's like, why even have insurance? The deductible is huge. And we had a handwritten clause in there that the contents of the house are to be excluded. So nothing in her house is included in this homeowner's policy. And it's like bare bones minimum coverage for a 3-bedroom house in a decent neighborhood, but it's not on the water. It's not anything spectacular. There's no big risks associated with where she lives. And it's like almost $9,000 a year. Bananas. So I can't even imagine what it's going to be. We may end up having to move. We might have to move somewhere else. I'm laughing, but it's for real. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just blabbering away. But I thought I would tell you something that kind of interesting that happened. I don't know. I'm thinking of erasing all of that I just said. So if you're joining me now, I was just blabbering on about hurricane nonsense. If it's still there, thanks for listening, getting to this part. Anyway, this weekend I was scrolling on TikTok, as one does, and I was looking, whatever, I didn't know, whatever, just doom scrolling on TikTok. And I ended up past all the crystal people. You guys watch that where they have a giant rock polisher and like all these crystals are in there, and there's like 10 different ones, and they all just scoop out like, lucky scoops of crystals, and they show you all the crystals and then they mail them to you. Or I've seen it done with makeup too. They like scoop in this big thing of makeup and they give you whatever comes out of the box. Like, I'm fascinated. I'll never buy them because I just won't, but I like watching it. I don't know. I'm a weirdo. But anyway, I stumbled on this thing that was a psychic. And I knew it was a psychic just by how he was talking, but I didn't realize who it was. It turned out it was John Edwards. So if you ever watch any psychic stuff, he's a biggie. He had a show on TV called Crossing Over years ago. So anyway, this was the weird thing. I'm not going to cry. I mean, I might, but I'm probably not because I don't know, whatever. So I stumbled into the thing. I didn't type anything. I didn't say anything. I just, whatever, joined, just seeing what it was. And I was listening for a couple seconds. And he was talking to someone who was getting a psychic reading. And he says, oh, I'm getting a D name, a D, D-N. He goes, is there a Denise, a Diane? And I was like, I'm Denise. Obviously. My sister who just passed in June was Diane. And I was like, it's me. Like, I was thinking to myself, no, that's for me. That message is for me. Like, what are they saying? What's the D and the N want, And it got me like a little bit, because like that's kind of crazy, right? That's a little bit like, I wish I had been like screen recording it, but like, why would I have done that? There was no reason to do that. It was wild. It was a little crazy. And so then I just kept watching because I wanted to see what they would say. Nothing else really coincided. But then he was saying at the end, which I thought this was pretty weird. He said, when I'm giving a reading to somebody, even though I'm not talking to you, you might still be getting something from it. And I just don't realize the message is for someone else. And I was like, oh, I think that message was for me. I'm not going to cry. So it made me like excited and like, it was like, what? What's the message? It was kind of weird, right? That's a little weird. I mean, of all the names in the world, what a coincidence, right? It was right as I just joined. I didn't even realize what was going on. One day I'll tell you about Diane. I just can't right now. It's going to be a long time, probably before I could talk about her. But, yeah, anyway. I miss her a lot, obviously. I have one other sister, Debbie. So it was us 3 days. My sister Diane was 13 years old when I was born, and my sister Debbie was 10. And so they fought with each other like cats and dogs. They were always like, with each other. But I was the baby. And neither of them ever fought with me. They fought with each other, but never with me. I was always like, they took care of me and took me everywhere. And, I just looked up to them. I still do. But it's hard, man. I've lost so many people. I've said that before, but losing your sister, that's rough. I don't even know what I was starting to talk about. Just that thing was pretty wild. So I'm not like a kooky weirdo or anything, but it's interesting, like psychic stuff. And I was actually on TikTok's gonna be the death of me, huh? I was on TikTok and I was watching like the lives. And when you watch lives on TikTok, it's just like the most random stuff. I think they just show you random stuff, and so that maybe you'll find something you like and like keep coming back to it. I don't know. What do I know? I don't know anything. But it was this other psychic, a young kid. This could have been all made up. I don't know. But it was in a live also. And he was like so spot on with stuff he was telling people. And I don't know. It would have been a lot of effort to go through like making all this up and having, the conversation sounded so genuine. And so he was offering psychic readings to people. I hope you don't think I'm a nut for this. And he said he didn't want to charge. He wasn't trying to make money, but he would charge a fee just to like just to hold the spot. Because I guess he had been doing this for a long time, and he makes appointments with people, and then they just like ghost him, or maybe that's a bad word. They don't show up or whatever. So he was charging $10, which I think is like a pretty fair price. So it's obviously he's not trying to charge $100 a reading or something. It was $10 to hold your spot, and I asked him, could I do it with my other sister? And I just said sister and say other sister. And is that okay? And I imagined we would have to pay double. And he was like, oh, yeah, no problem. $10 just to hold the spot for you and your sister, but I can't guarantee something will come up, whatever. That's okay. I was like, okay, $10, that's fair enough. Like, and then he gave me the date that he had open. Now, this is back in like July. And the date he had open was a date in October, which was my mother's birthday. And my mother's been gone for a long time. So I was like, ooh, that's like, what a coincidence, right? I mean, what are the odds? I mean, I guess 1 in 365, but like, I don't know. So I took it. I took the date. I spent the $10. I will keep you informed of what happens during my psychic reading. And we'll see what happens. I've always kind of wanted to do that. I did it one time before. It wasn't a psychic reading. It was like a palm. I think it was a palm reading. And I was so interested because I have like weird palms. Like, you see the line on my hand goes all the way across. Like, I don't have, it like just goes straight across like that. I don't know why I'm making that noise. But it doesn't have like the two separating lines like most hands have. And I think there's like some medical condition that could happen with that. I think it's present in some other conditions as well. I don't think I have any of those. It's just this weird rando thing. Like, my hand just goes like that, So I was real interested to see what a palm reader and somebody would say about it. And they like didn't, I don't remember. I don't remember if it was a big deal or not. It was a long time ago. I should look it up. I guess it wasn't anything earth shattering. I would have remembered. Okay. Anyway, that's my Ramble Fest for today. Thankful we had no hurricane. Thankful that you're here. Thankful for all the time I did have with my family, even though a lot of them are gone now. So, cherish every day and all that, blah, blah. And, things in first grade are getting better every day. I don't hate it every second that I'm here. I'm starting to make connections with the kids and starting to enjoy it a little more. I still don't want to do it again, but it's not as rough to get through every day, and things are settling in a little bit. All right, so even though it feels like Monday because we were just off for 2 days for the hurricane, it is Friday. So Friday's good, and I hope you all have a great weekend, and I'll probably see you on Monday.